Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joseph Sadar here. Praise you guys are doing wonderful as always. So, guys, welcome to today's prophetic word. I mean, it's been a while since I've released a prophetic word at night. So, yeah, welcome, all the same, guys. This is a very important word. It's a warning to remain sober and vigilant, and not to fall off track during this time because God is doing a lot in this time. The harvest is here, and it's really important to stay on track because the enemy is really out to hijack what God is doing at this time. So it's really important. But guys, as I always say, just please remember, not every prophetic word is meant for everyone. It's really, really important for you guys to test the spirits and just make sure you're getting the confirmations from the Lord first and foremost. I only prophesy in part, I only know in part. So it's just really important for you guys to be, like I said, just seeking God for the whole story. Amen. All right, guys, we're ready to get right into it. The title the Lord gave me today is You Are a Threat. Protect your harvest. You are a threat. Protect your harvest. I'll start with a couple of scriptures. So Songs of Solomon 2:15 reads, Catch us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. Genesis 3:1-4 reads, Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said to the woman, Has God indeed said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, We may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, You will not surely die. God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Matthew 4:3 reads, Now when the tempter came to him, he said, If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. John 10:10 reads, The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. Romans 8:37 reads, Yet in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. And 1 Peter 2:9 reads, But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So my friends, the Lord wants to start off by emphasizing everything he's confirmed and affirmed to you. This is to the remnant, those who have been, faithful and obedient. To those people, you have immense power, and God is fulfilling what he's promised you. And all these things are coming together for your good. And Romans 8:28-30 reads, And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purposes. For whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he predestined, these he also called. Whom he called, these he also justified. And whom he justified, these he also glorified. And what the Lord is saying is that because of this, because of the harvest that's coming, because of the blessings and the provisions, you are a major threat to the enemy. You have rattled the kingdom of darkness in very noticeable ways, guys. Make no mistake about that. The enemy is not happy with you, and he knows that you are on a whole new level. He's not blind to it. He knows that you're a major threat, and he also knows how strong you are. He's seen your progress, and this is not an easy pill to swallow for the enemy. He's tried to destroy you so many times. But God is saying that to get ready, he's saying to gird your loins and stand firm. 1 Peter 1:13 reads, Therefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and rest your hope fully upon the grace that is to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Guys, it's very important that you are cautious at this time, not fearful, not dreadful, but you must be wise and careful regarding the enemy's strategy against you. Matthew 10:16 reads, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Some of you are going to be attacked by the enemy on new and unfamiliar levels and in unfamiliar ways, right? And specifically, the enemy is going to try in some way, form, or fashion to rob you of your harvest. It's very important because it's a very crafty strategy, guys. Satan is looking for any toehold he can get. He's looking for any toehold to turn into a stronghold. He may start attacking your mind or sending you all these thoughts that aren't from God, and it may be an attempt to get you to forfeit your harvest in some way, fashion, or form. The enemy may use certain relationships to rob you of your harvest. He may send more counterfeits, or he may, have you go back to certain people of the old, of your old season. He might be trying to convince you that God's way isn't the right way. Guys, the enemy can be trying to tell you literally that the route that God told you to go on isn't the way you should go. Like, he might be trying to do that. He might be trying to convince you that you've heard wrong, right? Guys, you might be dealing with, intense spiritual warfare that's making you want to quit. Some of you might be on the verge of quitting. The enemy might, he might have you be believing half truths, but God is saying that we must believe the words that he's decreed. Because a half truth, is still a lie. But, and the enemy's attacks, it really can look like anything, guys. But the Lord is saying that these attacks are happening because you are a threat. You are a threat. And if there's any thought that is pushing you away from what God has told you in this season, it's not from God. It's from the enemy. Even if it's a little bit off from what God has told you, it's not from God. It's from the enemy. So you need to stand firm on what God has told you. Not 50% of it, not 75%, not 95%, 100% of what God told you. You need to stand firm in that and on that. Because the enemy does not want you to access your harvest. He doesn't want you to come into your kingdom resources or your kingdom marriages. And guys, I don't talk a lot about kingdom marriages on this channel, but some of you have gotten specific instructions from the Lord about your kingdom spouse and what you're supposed to do. And the enemy has been trying all he can to get you to doubt or to walk away from what God has told you. Some of you, you've gotten so many counterfeits recently just knocking at your door or DMing you, right? But what God has said, and that's between you and the Lord. But the enemy is desperately trying to get you to marry the counterfeit and to walk away from the mission / harvest God has given you, what he's granting you. Now, again, you must be testing the spirits, guys. This word isn't for everyone, but to whomever it's for, God is saying that you must be cautious and proactive of your harvest. Protective of your harvest. Because, again, you are a threat to the enemy, and he's going to do all he can to make every option that's not God's best look the absolute best, right? And, this isn't just about marriage, guys. This can apply to any area of your harvest. The enemy is seeking to devour you. 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. 2 Corinthians 11:13 reads, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of light. Now, this message tonight isn't necessarily just about false prophets alone, but I've talked a lot about that, over the past couple of months. But the Lord is really wanting to highlight deceitful workers. These very crafty and subtle agents of Satan. Guys, be ready, because in very subtle ways you may be visited by agents of Satan who have an assignment to either destroy you, destroy your harvest, or steal your harvest. This can be in the form of a business deal, a friendship, a relationship, or a marriage proposal. These agents of Satan can be anywhere, guys, and they can be operating in any way. And as I mentioned before, the enemy may just ramp up his mind games against you. You may be wondering, where are these thoughts coming from? You may be hearing some things that are just unpleasant and contrary to what, the Lord has told you. But this is why you have to be vigilant. You have to be sober. You must know, what the Lord has told you, and you must stand firm on that. You must stand firm on that, guys. You have to know, who the Lord is telling you to partner up with. You have to allow the Lord to speak to you and tell you who you should be choosing as your business partner, kingdom spouse, or just your friend, because the enemy is going to try to convince you to fall for his counterfeits. And at the same time, the enemy is going to attempt to convince you that God's choice and God's will is the counterfeit. So you have to really be focused. And this is why you have to have an intimate and close relationship with the Lord. And guys, seriously, you got to notice, don't call God's choice for you the counterfeit. Exercise discernment and always be testing the spirits. Even if God's will or God's choice doesn't look so appealing, you need to yield, because that's where the harvest is coming from. Don't let the enemy confuse you, because God is not the author of confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33 reads, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." And at the same time, don't go back and forth, with the Lord. If he's told you that someone, something, or some opportunity is a counterfeit. If God is telling you hey, this thing is a counterfeit, don't argue with him. Don't go back and forth. Guys, trust me, it's for your ultimate good. On the other side, sometimes the counterfeits, they look so good that we're willing to argue with the Lord about them. But God is gracious, and he'll always let us know. We just got to listen. But we're getting back to this word. Notice in Genesis that the serpent was, the most cunning out of all the beasts on the field. It was the most clever. And, notice when Satan was tempting Jesus, he was very subtle, questioning Jesus's divinity. And he challenged him to go against God, to turn those stones into bread, which would result in breaking Jesus's fast. He convinced a third of the angels to turn away from God. And the Lord is saying that his righteous remnant, his faithful followers are not exempt from the enemy's temptation, because you are a threat. You are a major threat, and the enemy wants to steal your harvest. Again, he knows what's coming, and you've done so well, child of God. And the Lord is promoting you, and the devil hates it. Isaiah 41:10 reads, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Matthew 23:12 reads, "And whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." Matthew 5:5 reads, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." So guys, you're truly a royal priesthood, a holy nation, and God's special people. And again, the enemy hates this. You are a major threat to him, and you've done a lot of damage to the kingdom of darkness with the light that you've shined. Matthew 5:16 reads, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So, guys, now the Lord is saying that you must be proactive. He's instructing us to be proactive. As I said in the beginning of the video, this is not a time to fall off or to get distracted. We must be actively pursuing our harvest, and in the context of protecting it and not letting the enemy kill, steal, or destroy it. Because guys, it is our responsibility to remain vigilant. It's our responsibility to be girding our loins, because we must be active in our mission. These terms, sober and vigilant, they're not passive terms, guys. They're not passive. You can't be passively sober or passively vigilant, right? These are actions, and the Lord is saying that you must be getting the foxes out of your vineyard, or in this case, the harvest. Now, Songs of Solomon, if you ever read it, it's a very poetic book, and it's centered around the relationship of Solomon and his lover. Chapter 2, verse 15, I believe, is definitely referring to the context of their specific relationship. But in this word, the Lord is instructing his remnants to be actively removing any little foxes, out of your vineyard or your harvest. Guys, the harvest is beautiful. Like the harvest is beautiful, but there is a responsibility to owning the harvest. Like, you need to take care of it, because foxes, thieves, and counterfeits, they're going to be attracted to the harvest or the ripe vineyard, right? And think about people such as, Jezebel and Delilah. They had, different missions, but they were attracted to the men of power and the high position. And all the same, because you're such a threat, because you're powerful in the kingdom, and because your harvest is abundant, you have to be proactively watching for all the little foxes that are going to inevitably come for your vineyard to ruin them. Any farmer knows that when harvest comes, like, you have to, take care of it. You have to. And this is not a task for a lazy person, guys, because the moment you get stagnant or the moment you get idle, that's the moment the enemy is going to steal the harvest. It's the moment the fox is going to ruin the vineyard. Because again, I know I keep saying this, guys, but you really are a threat. You are a problem for the kingdom of darkness, straight up. And you have to see yourself in this light. Some of you don't think about yourselves in such a way, right? But you have to know you're a threat. You have to take yourself seriously as a threat to the enemy. And you have to aggressively remove these foxes from your harvest. Whether it's little foxes you've personally allowed or foxes the enemy is sending, it's absolutely imperative that you do not tolerate anyone or anything trying to ruin your vineyard the Lord is supplying. And I'm talking aggressive and no nonsense treatment of the enemy's foxes, guys. Don't tolerate any agents of Satan. James 4:7 reads, "Therefore submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." 1 Corinthians 6:18 reads, "Flee sexual immorality. Every sin that a man does outside the body, every sin that a man does is outside the body, but he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body." Guys, I don't know what's been going on lately, but there's just been a lot of moral failures, with pastors recently. And, in the past year, and even over the past couple years, we have to be killing sin, guys. We have to be killing sin and fleeing sexual temptation. And again, not tolerating any little foxes. Don't tolerate the foxes. Don't flirt with the counterfeits. Don't let them, have a little nibble on your vineyard, if you will. Don't entertain any Jezebels, Revelation 2:20. But protect your harvest. The Bible says that it's our responsibility to be sober and to be vigilant, right? Because the enemy is seeking whom he may devour. And his job is only to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But Jesus has come that we may have life in abundance. So know that you're a threat. Be cautious, protect your harvest, and you'll be immeasurably blessed. Amen. And guys, that is a wrap on tonight's prophetic word. I really pray that it helped quicken your spirits immensely, guys. And really, I pray whoever this word has been for, that you've been blessed. You guys are so awesome. Like, I know, like, I definitely needed to hear that message, so I know someone else did as well. Guys, let's just continue to be, let's just continue to be intentional about 2021. Like, guys, I'm serious, like, for real. Like, don't be shy to post your testimonies in the comment section. I've gotten some great emails from you guys. Please just keep them coming. Let's stay encouraged and inspired by, what the Lord is doing through the body right now. I mean, like, don't make up any testimonies, but, just seriously, like, let us know the good things that God is doing in your situation. And, like, seriously, let's own this year for real. Like, I'm still saying that. Let's do it. Let's stay. This is a time to really stay intentional, guys. Don't fall off. Just keep going. Keep fighting the good fight of faith. But anyway, it's late. I'm gonna hop off now. I pray you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.